Hey, thanks for joining me to color. Today we are going to be working on this adorable Magnolia image called Olive Tilda. Isn't she cute? Love her. I will put a link down in the description box to the card kit and all the supplies I used. I would love for you to come shopping with me. If you have a question, leave me a comment and I will get back to you. If you liked the video, hit the like button so you can share it with others. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that so you get an update every time I upload a new video. So I've already stamped my image on Neenah 80-pound Solarite cardstock with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. So let's color. So I decided this time I would do a dotty background for my girl. For that we're going to use B000, B000, V20, C00 in our colorless blender. And I'm going to start with B000, sorry. And I'm just going to start making some dots all around my girl. Look around here. And I'm trying to keep these darker ones a little bit closer to her, but I also want to put a few out here in the middle somewhere, away from her. And the faster you go with your pen, the smaller your dots are going to be. The slower you go, the fatter they're going to be. So it's totally up to you. I'm just pouncing my pen up and down and making some different sized dots. And I'm going to work my way clear around with this color, clear around to the other side. Let's see here. And I think I'll come down here and start from this bottom side and come up. Might be a little bit easier for me to see where I'm going. A little bit over here. I will bring these out just a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to grab B000 and I'm just going to do the same thing. And I'm not necessarily putting my dots on top of the other dots. I'm just dotting it up and down. And if it goes on top of another one, cool. If it doesn't, that's awesome too. It's just to make a different colored background for our girl this time instead of just our little shadow that we usually do. And I'm trying to bring these two out a little bit away from her. Down in here. And we got to come around our branches. And a few here in between her leg. Next I'm going to go with V20 and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to start over here and I'm not going to put quite as many as I did with the other two, the blue ones. I'm just going to periodically put a few little dots. And you also want to make sure you go out into the outside out here. But just a few less than the other colors. I just wanted to put some purple in here to go with the color of the olives that I'm going to color later. Okay, next I'm going to go C00, same thing. We're just going to pounce up and down. And this is just to add a little bit of gray in there. You can do whatever colors you wanted. I try to go, when I do the dotty background, with some colors that she already has with the blue. So like the purple I added because I'm going to do the olives in purple, but you could also do like a R00 to go with the red on her dress if you wanted to add that color in there. Just adds a little bit more interest to your person. Okay, and then after I get it all done, I'm going to take my colorless blender and I'm just going to swoosh over the entire area of my dots. And I did it, if you do it first, then it doesn't matter if you touch the girl with your colorless blender. It won't have to worry about bleeding out any of the other colors. I just do that to soften them a little bit. If you don't want to soften your dots, you could just skip the colorless blender and leave the dots as they were. So now let's give her something to stand on. For that, we're going to use G94, G82, and G40. And I'm going to start with my G94. And I'm just going to do a few lines and try to get closer to the shoe here, maybe a few up here. Like that. Then I'm going to go with G82. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I can get a little bit around those olives. Like that. And then I'm going to go with G40 over the entire thing. I think I'll turn my pen just a little bit more on the side so I can just kind of make a wide swipe across all of the last two colors and blend them a little bit together, kind of soften the edges. Then I'm going to go back with my G94 and just put a few more dark ones back in, just to give it a little bit more contrast. Since we have the greens out, let's do the leaves. For that, we're going to use G82, G40, and we're going to add YG11. So I'm going to start with my G82, and let's go ahead and start down here at these small leaves down here on the ground. And I'm going to give each leaf a little swipe in the middle. These already had a line, so I just went over the line. Same with these down here. Just going to give them a little swipe down the center of that line that's already there. And up here on the leaves on the tree. Then I'm going to grab G40 next. Let's go down here again. And I'm just going to brush right over the top of that line that I just drew. Just going to widen it out a little bit. Then I'm going to take my YG11 and I'm going to color over the entire leaf. Give a little bit of yellow to that color. You could also use the colors we used for the ground if you wanted to have a little bit darker leaves. Then I'm going to go back with my G82 and I'm going to put that line back in the center of my leaves. Just to give it a little bit more dark. Mine kind of faded out a little bit there. For her skin, we're going to use E53, E51, and E50. And for her cheeks, we're going to use R02, 12, and 11. I'm going to start with my E53. And I'm going to hope it doesn't drip because I filled it up beforehand and I tend to get a little crazy with that. So let's go right along the edge of her skirt. And I'm going to come down here on this little bump she's got on her leg. And down here. And then I'm going to do her knee. Give her knee a little bit, and I'm going to bring a little bit down here on her calf. And same for this side, we'll go underneath of her skirt, and then down her knee, and I'm going to come over the top of the shoe a little bit right there, maybe on this side too, like that. And then I'm going to grab E51 next, and I want to soften those edges, so I'm going to touch down on top of my E53. And I'm going to brush out here into my white. I'm going to bring this color around on her calf. And then I'm going to fill it in with E50. I'm going to swipe clear across. And I picked these colors because they're kind of an olive yellow color. So we can make her look a little bit Italian, I guess. Give her a little bit different colored skin tone. All right, so let's go up here and we'll do her neck, or her hands next. So let's do E53. And we're going to go around the flowers. That, and then let's do her arm. Thumb. I'll bring this one around like this. And I'm going to add a little bit to her neck. Then we'll go with E51. Her neck. Maybe come around that leaf a little bit. And then we'll take E50. Do her neck before I forget that. Like so. For her face, let's start with E53. And I'm going to start right over here next to her bangs. And it looks like they're kind of swooping in right here, so I'm going to go right to the edge of that. And then I'm going to come up here underneath of her hairline. And because her hair or her face is tipped down, I'm going to go around her cheek and over here to her neck. Then I'm going to go with E51. And I want to continue this line, so let's go around this way. And then up here where I already laid down color, I'm going to brush on the top of that and swoop out here in towards the middle. We'll do the other side. Next we'll add E50, so same thing. Let's just swoop here. And I'm not going to fill in the middle because I want to go back and I don't want it to be too dark. So we're going to add cheek color and then come back and fill it in. So let's add RO2 to our cheeks. And I try to do my cheeks, there's 3 little dots here. I try to keep the darkest color kind of in between these two and along the edge. So it's kind of contained to this little section there in between the 2 dots. Next we'll go with R12. So I'm going to add to that color by brushing away and kind of up towards her temple. And then R11. That. And then I'm going to go with my E51. And after I add my second layer of skin tone, if I decide I want to darken up her cheeks, I'll come back and add a second coat. And then I'm going to take E50 and swipe clear across her face, filling in my white space and going to the edge. I got a little bit of a line up here, so I'm going to go over that again. And then I think her cheeks look pretty pink there, so I'm going to leave it like that. Next, let's do her hair. For that, I'm going to use in 9, 7, and 5. And I'm going to try to leave a little bit of white in there just for the highlights. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not the best at doing black hair, but I'm trying to do a little bit better. So we're going to give her black hair to practice. So N9, we're going to start with N9. And right here, her hair looks like it's kind of swooping underneath. So I'm going to color a little bit of my N9 right there. And then up here, it looks like it kind of dips behind this hair. So I'm going to go along the line right here and then streak a couple up here from that dip in. And then I want to do a little bit right here in the roots or in the crease. Same for this side. As long as I'm over there, I'll go ahead and add a little dab there. Okay, and then for this side over here, where this one is curling under, we're going to color that next to her face. And then we also want to do a little bit coming away from her cheek. And then she's got a little curly Q here, so I'll give a little bit to that curly Q. And let's see. Right here it looks like it's dipping in, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit right there. And then let's go down here and we'll add some to this little section. And I'm going to do really close to her cheek, so I'm just going to do a small line next to her cheek so I can touch down right on that line and not have to worry about coloring her face black. I can totally see me doing that. And I'm going to bring a couple of these lines down a little bit further. And then over here, same thing. Let's do coming away from her body. And then right here, there's a little tiny dab of hair. I'm going to give that a little dab. Then let's go up here. And we'll work our way up to the top of this little section. And it kind of is up in the air over here, so I want to leave it a little bit lighter over here. And let's do a little bit coming away from her arm. And then down here where it's rolling under into that cute little, curl. There we go. Lost what it was there for a minute. And like that. Okay, not too bad so far. So now let's do N7 next. So I'm going to add some more streaks of that. So let's start up here at the top. And I'm going to try to get my pen to go with the curve of her hair here. I'm going to color this little section in. And then let's work our way down. So let's try to do some little streaks in here. And then down here. And we'll work our way around to the other side. Black's really hard for me. I don't know why it is, but it just always looks so funky. I guess I just don't leave enough white in there, I guess, or highlighty things. So I try to throw in a black-haired girl every once in a while just to practice. Then we got N5 next. So let's go down here and add a little bit to this curly Q. And again, I want to leave some white in here, so I'm going to try to just do a little bit and then have some little dabs of white. Okay, that's not too bad so far. Let's do this side. And then down here. Okay, I think that's a little bit, I left a little bit more white this time than I did in my original card. So I think I'm going to leave it like that because it's got quite a few little highlights in there. Let's do the olives next. For that, we're going to use BV 08, 04, and 34. And I'm going to start with 08. And let's go down here and get these ones that are in the grass. So each of them have like a little, the pit area, I guess you'd call it. There's a little dot there, so I grabbed that. And then on these up here, they got like some little shadow lines along the bottom. So I'm just going to sweep across those. And if you don't use your BVs very much, they could be very wet. You might want to remove the other end for just a little bit, or while you color this. That way you'll hopefully not drip. Next, we're going to go with BV 04. And I'm just going to color right over the top of that line I just put down. And these ones down here on the ground. And then I'm going to take my BV 34 and swirl over the entire thing. And then I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to leave them like that because they're pretty small. Let's do the basket next with E49, 44, and 41. I'm going to start with E49, and I'm going to do each one of the little baskets. The little basket has a some little lines, or it's kind of ropey. So I'm going to do each one of those little sections. There's also some little dashes in there if you wanted to color the little dashes. That would be a good place to put some dark. And then down here, she's got a little bit, so I'm going to go on the little lines that are down here on the basket. And a couple little lines there. Next, I'm going to go with E44. I'm going to color right over the top of this, the last color. Add a little bit more color. And I want to leave a little bit of white in there for my final color. And then I'm going to take E41 and I'm going to color over the last two colors and fill in the white. So kind of swirl it around and fill it in and kind of squish the colors together. Alright, so let's fill in between the olives and these leaves in the basket here. I should have done that when I had the grass color out down here, but I didn't. I forgot. So we're going to use G94, G82, and G40. And I'm going to take my G94 first, and I'm going to do some dots down here closest to the basket, and then just a little bit randomly up here in between these olives. Then I'm going to go with the G82. Same thing. I'm going to dot my pen up and down and fill in some of that space. And then I'm going to take my G40 and I'm going to actually color it in. So I'm going over all my little dots and then filling in the rest of the white around the basket. Let's do this headscarf and her dress next. We're going to use R37, 35, 43, and 21. Let's start up here on her head wrap. So I'm going to start with R37, and right here it dips down behind, so I'm going to go ahead and add some color there. And I'm going to pull this line up a little bit to give it more of a crease. And then over here where it's dipping behind her hair, I'm going to darken it up. And then I'm going to bring my line up here closest to the top of her head. And then for this side, I'm going to go underneath her knot, and then I want to color in this little crease right here, that little bubble. And then we want to do the bottom of our knot. And then for our bow, let's do the center. Like that. And let's do this side a little bit. Maybe pull this side down just a little bit more over here. Next I'm going to go with R35. So for this color, let's bring this color up that. And then this color we're going to bring over. And then we'll go with R43. So color grab that little white line I left. Bring that knot. And we'll bring this color out towards the edge. And then lastly, we'll take R21. I'm going to swirl it back and forth across the middle here a little bit and kind of squish the colors together, and it'll kind of push the color back. I think I'll go a little bit more over here. There, that looks pretty good. Okay, let's go down here and do her dress. You know what? I forgot her arm right here, so let's grab oh, where is it? Oh, E51. Let's go E53 and E51. She's got a little bit of her arm showing right here. So I'm going to take E53 like that, and then E51 to fill it in. I forgot it when I colored it the first time too. Alright, so now let's do the dress. So I'm going to start with R37. I'm going to do R37. Let's start on the sleeve over here. Let's bring R37 up here and underneath of her chin. And I didn't worry about any of the dots or anything that are on her dress. I just colored right over those. And we'll bring this color like that. And then for this sleeve, let's pull this sleeve up here. And she's got a little bit of the undersleeve sewing, so I'm going to color that in on this side right here. Then let's do this wrinkle. And then we're going to come across the top of this bump. And then I'm going to bring this wrinkle down. And it's going to touch that little olive there. And then we're going to bring this. And red's not very forgiving, so I'm trying to be really careful. I'm going to bring this color down like this. What I'm also going to do on the ruffle down here, there's some lines. I'm just going to color right over the top of those. Or you can put a little dot too, because they're pretty small. Okay. Next I'm going to go with R35. So let's add some more color. Whoops, careful, don't color those leaves. That, and then let's bring this down here, color a little bit underneath this basket. And then I'm going to touch a little dab on each of these little dark red spots I put on the bottom of this ruffle. Next we'll go with R43. Let's work our way around here. Maybe a little dab down here around that leaf. Then we'll go with R21 to fill it in. Around the leaves. A little line here. So I'm going to go over that a second time, and then I want to fill in my white down here on my ruffle. And I'll brush a little bit more on this line here. That leaves us with her shoes. So we're going to use C7, 5, 3, 2, 1, 0, and 00. Oh, that's a lot. All right, so let's start with C7. And I'm going to take my C7 and let's start over here on this shoe. So I'm going to do a tiny dab down the inside or the back side of her shoe and up here towards the sole. Okay, and then right here on where it bumps behind her foot, I'm going to do back there and a little dab here in the crease of her foot. And let's give this side of her boot a little bit. And we'll do the same thing over here. So we're going to do it down this side, across that crease. And let's go ahead and do down, since it's inside, let's do a little bit in here. And inside of her little lace or her little tongue of her shoe. And I'll go down this way. And she's got a couple little bumps right there that I'm going to add some color to. Okay, then I'm going to go with C5. So I just want to add a tiny bit more. So I'm kind of coloring right over the top of the last color, but just thickening it up just a little bit. I don't want it to go too far. And let's bring this over the top of her sole of her foot. And like this. Next we'll go with C3. And again, we want to add just a little bit. I'm going to fill in the tongue. And then we'll go with C2. And then we'll go with C1. Then I'm going to add this down here on the bottom of her shoe. And I'm going to fill the whole thing in with C0. And then with my C00, I'm going to go over the entire boot. So there's our beautiful Olive Tilda all colored up. Isn't she pretty? So again, here is the finished card. So I have added some Sharpie white paint pen to her cheeks, and then I used my Spica glitter pen in clear on her hair, on the branches of this of the tree over here, all the dots on her dress and on her scarf, and then of course the little curly cues down here that are on her hair too, and these little dots that are just out here as accents on the stamp. I put some glitter pen in there too. So I hope you had fun coloring with me today. If you have a question, leave me a comment and I will get back to you. Otherwise, we will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye. Thank you.